Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. Okay, so this is second part of differentiation. So we just continue in this video. Alright, so for part 2, we will cover differentiation of composite function, 9.3 tangent and normal to the curve, 9.5 second order differentiation, and last one is concept of maximum and minimum values. Okay, let's look at differentiation of composite function. Okay, so if I give you y equals to 2x plus 3, and then you differentiate with respect to x, so you will have dy over dx equals to 2. Okay, right? If I give you y equals to 2x plus 3 square with respect to x, differentiate. So the first, maybe you will expand the bracket first. Then you will have 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. Then we differentiate with respect to x. You will have 8x, okay, by using power rule. So these two bring in front 8x, 2 minus 1, then you will get 1, power 1 here. And 12x, 12 constant will be equals to 0. So you will end up with 8x plus 12. So this is easy. So if we continue, if I change the power by power 3, y equals to 2x plus 3. And then you are asked to differentiate with respect to x. So you will expand it again and you will get 8x cubed plus 36x squared plus 54 plus 27. So how we expand this? You split this power 3 into 2x plus 3 and 2x plus 3 square, and then you expand yang second power 2, then we multiply with the other bracket, then you get this. And then you differentiate, you akan dapat 24x squared plus 72x plus 54. But what if I ask you to differentiate with respect to n? Maybe n is equals to 10 or 100 or 1000. Are you going to expand the whole bracket first? Okay, so in this subtopic, we will have this equation y equals to ax plus b power of n with respect to x will give you, okay, what will happen when you differentiate this kind of equation? N power we will bring in front, so you will have this n, and then the whole bracket you will write it back, but the power will minus 1. Okay, and then inside the bracket we will differentiate with respect to x. Okay, so you will have this n ax plus bn minus 1 multiplied by a, because when you differentiate the 1 in the bracket, you will have only a because b is a constant. All right. Okay, so the previous question, 2x plus 3 power of n, so n will bring in front, and then rewrite the 1 in bracket, power will minus 1. Okay, and then you differentiate inside the bracket, you get 2. So we rearrange the expression, so we have 2n, 2x plus 3 power n minus 3. Okay, for example, so if you have y equals to 4x minus 3 power of 10, differentiate with respect to x. Okay, so what happened? You bring that n in front, okay, bring 10 power in front, so you get 10. And then for x minus 3, you rewrite it back, power minus 1, and then you differentiate inside the bracket, you get 4. And then 4 and 10, you multiply, because this is actually 10 times with the 1 in the bracket times 4. So it is 40 multiplied with 40x minus 3 power of n, okay? The 1 in the bracket, you don't have to expand, you just leave it like this. Okay, example number 2, differentiate y equals to 2x, okay, 4x minus 3 power of 10 with respect to x. So in this case, we have two different polynomial here. The first one is 2x, and the second one is 4x minus 3 power 10. So in this case, we will use product rule. Okay, you will let u as 2x and v as 4x minus 3 power 10, ataupun terbalik. You can let u equals to 4x minus 3 power 10 and v equals to 2x. Okay, and then this is the general equation for product rule. Right, product rule is you remain u differentiate v plus remain v differentiate u. Okay, so what happened here? U 2x and then differentiate v. When you differentiate this, you akan dapat dv over dx. This one is du over dx ataupun we write as u prime. This one we write as v prime. So u prime equals to du over dx is 2. V prime equals to dv over dx is, we use that composite equation just now. You bring power in front 4x minus 3 power 9 and we differentiate inside, we get 4. So 10 times 4 is 40, 4x minus 3 power 9. Okay, so you get this. Right, and then remain v differentiate u. Right, so now you have two terms here. The first term is this plus another term. There are only two terms. So in this case, we will factor out the one that you can factor. For example, from here you can factor out, okay, the first one we multiply first. 10 and 4 is 40 times with 2x, so you get this. First term and second term. So from here we can easily see that we can factor out 2 and 4x minus 3 power 9. Okay, so from the first term, if you factor out 2 4x minus 3 power 9, you will left only 40x and then plus with 2, it already factor out, and then you have another bracket, one more bracket inside here, which is this one, 4x minus 3. So this one you will get 2 4x minus 3 power 9, and we simplify 40x plus 4 is 44 minus 3. Okay, example number 3. So this is differentiate y equals to negative 2x squared minus 3x power 4 over 7x cubed with respect to x. Okay, so in this case we will use quotient rule. Okay, you have to memorize the formula, right? You can let v as this to negative 2x squared minus 3x power 4, or vice versa, either one you can use. I cannot. For quotient rule, for fraction like this, the one that at the denominator must be v. The one at the top one must be u. Okay, sorry, just now. The other one, product rule, you can choose either one. For quotient rule, the v will be the one at the bottom. U will be the one at the top. Okay, you cannot change. Okay, the one must be follow that. All right, so v 7x cubed. So you will use the one in composite function, differentiation for composite function. So 4 negative 2x squared minus 3x power 3, and then differentiate inside negative 4x minus 3 minus remain u differentiate v 7x cubed and then v squared, so 7x cubed power squared, right? And then we simplify. At the top you have only two terms. Okay, ini dia punya operation. Second term, this one is the first term. Okay, this one is second term. Okay, from first term and second term, ini adalah dia punya operation, subtraction. So from this subtraction, and then you look at your first term and second term, you have to factor out the common term. Okay, from here, kena tengok satu-satu lah. So we can take out 7x squared, multiply with negative 2x squared minus 3x cubed. And then when you factor out, you left only 4x negative 4x minus 3 minus negative 2x squared minus 3x multiplied by 3. And then we simplify. So basically, this one we can simplifykan 7 and 7. Okay, x squared, this one will left only 4. So you will have only negative 2x squared minus 3x cubed, negative 10x squared minus 3x over x power 4, right? Okay, next, tangent and normal to the curve. Okay, tangent and normal to the curve. So if you have epoxy x and epoxy y, and then you have y, this is your curve. Alright, this is your curve. So curve at the point xy, at the point here xy, there will be a tangent that touch at only one point at x and y. So this tangent is a straight line. Okay, so straight line. The gradient of the straight line is dy over dx. Okay, you can find the gradient of this tangent by differentiate your y. Okay, and then normal to the curve is this line where it is 90 degree to your tangent. Okay, can understand kan? So m tangent, m normal is equals to -1. Once you get your gradient of tangent, you will definitely can find the punya normal, tangent of the normal, right? So you must know which one is the tangent, which one is the normal, all right? Okay, let's look at the example. Find the equation of a tangent. Okay, equation of a tangent and equation of a normal. So as you know, tangent and a normal is a straight line. So in order to find the equation, what you have to, what is the information that you need is the gradient and a coordinate. This one also gradient and a coordinate, kan? But you can use the formula to find a straight line. So in this case, you have the coordinate 3 and 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. So 3, 4. Okay, so this is the curve. So just now we know that the gradient of a tangent is equals to dy over dx. So we will differentiate this curve equation. Okay, so what we do, we will have this 4x minus 9. Okay, so at that point we substitute the coordinate value. Okay, 4, substitute your x, 3, so you will get this 12 minus 9 is 3. So you will get this gradient. So this is your gradient of your tangent, so it is 3. Okay, equation of the tangent is, okay, so y minus y1 equals to mx minus x1. We use this general formula of a straight line. Y minus 4, 3x minus 3. So we rearrange, you get y equals to 3x minus 9 plus 4, y equals to 3x minus 5. This is easy, so that you get the equation. So equation of your normal, you must find dia punya tangent pula. Dia punya gradient of the normal. So we are using m1, m2 equals to -1. So your normal gradient is -1 over 3. So by using the same equation, okay, at the same point, 3, 4, so you will get the equation of your normal is -1 over 3x plus 5. Okay. Alright, so next example, figure below shows the graph of y equals to x cubed minus 6x squared. Find the gradient at the curve at point A and point B where it meets at the x-axis. So basically in this case, same thing, okay, find the gradient of the curve at point A and B. Okay, we want to find the gradient at A and B. So we have to find dy over dx and coordinate of A and B. Okay, since A and B are points on x-axis, thus we know that y equals to 0. Kan? From here, you don't know what x, but you know dia punya y is 0. In this case, is okay lah, because we know that it is on the origin. Okay, so let's say you are not so sure, x 0, we put it like that, x 0. So when x equals to 0, then you will solve this. Okay, so x squared equals to 0 or x minus 6 equals to 0. So you akan dapat this answer. Okay, so and x equals to 0 and x equals to 6. So your A is 0, 0 and your B is 6, 0. Okay, we want to find the gradient at that point, right? So what we need to do is, okay, we have this. So from here we differentiate. You get 3x squared minus 12x. Okay, the gradient at A is dy over dx equals to 0. Why? Because you substitute the one, your x equals to 0. At A, 0, 0 kan A. So dy over dx is 3 0 square minus 12 0. So you will end up with 0. At B, 6 0. How you get 36? Dy over dx. So 3 6 square minus 12 6. Okay, you will get 36. Okay, next example. Find the coordinate on the curve with the equation y equals to x cubed plus 6x squared plus 5 where the value of the gradient is negative 6. Find the coordinate. You want to find coordinate x, y. Y equals to, on this curve where the gradient is negative 9. So basically you know that dy over dx is equals to negative 9. This is the gradient given. So from the curve, you can find dy over dx. Okay, where your dy over dx is also a gradient. So this is actually equal. So 3x squared plus 12x equals to negative 9. So 3x squared plus 12x plus 9 equals to 0. And then we simplify. Ataupun if you don't want to simplify, you can find directly by factorization. So solving by factorization, you will get x equals to negative 1 and x equals to negative 3. They ask you to find the coordinates, so you cannot stop up until here. You have to find y value. Okay, so at x equals to negative 1, you substitute into this equation. Okay, when x equals to negative 1, you will get 10. So one equation is negative 1, 10. At negative 1, 10, your gradient will be equals to negative 9. Okay, and then this one is negative 3, 32. So there are two coordinates that give you gradient of negative 9 on the curve. Okay. Okay, so this is basically the graph of this example tadi yang equation tu. So if we look at here, because this is a cubic graph dia macam curly sikit kan. So this is the point that we find. So at this coordinate only, your gradient will be negative berapa tadi? Negative 9. Okay, at these 2 points. Okay, I'll continue. Okay, a curve has equation y equals to 16 over x minus 4 set x. The normal to the curve at this point 4, negative 4 meets the y-axis at the point P. Find the coordinate of P. Okay, if you don't understand, reread it again. Okay, you have a curve. This is the equation. Okay, katalah this is your curve. And then you don't know how is your graph look like, so we just put it like this. Y equals to 16 over x minus 4 set x. The normal to the curve at the coordinate 4, negative 4. So this is your coordinate. Katalah somewhere here. So 4, negative 4. Okay. So the normal, if this is the 4, negative 4, so your tangent will be macam begini kan? Your tangent is this. Tangent. Normal is 90 degree. So dia begini. Okay, 90 degree. So this is your normal. Okay, so your normal at this point, normal to the curve at the point 4 meets the y-axis. They meet at y-axis at point P. Maksudnya, this normal, okay, if this is your y-axis, they akan touch at this point, where this point is defined as point P. Meets y-axis at point P. So you have to find this P. Since P is on y-axis, we know that your x is 0 and your y you don't know. Okay, so macam beginilah dia punya case dia ni. So how to find P? you have to get it from the normal equation. Okay, so normal equation, what you need, normal equation is a straight line, y equals to mx plus c. How to find normal equation? You need dia punya gradient. Okay, gradient of the normal, and you already know dia punya coordinate, 4, -4. So how to find dia punya gradient of the normal? You have to find gradient of the tangent, kan? In order to use these properties, m1, m2, -1. Okay, so you have to differentiate this equation. Macam gitu ya step dia. So step pertama, you have to differentiate y. Okay, differentiate y, you get this. Okay, you have to use all the properties that you have learned in part 1, differentiation. So you get this. The gradient at the tangent is 4, -4, so we substitute, so we get -2. So from the gradient of the normal, we know that gradient of the tangent, we can find gradient of the normal. So this is the gradient of the normal, kan? Right? And then from the equation of the normal, from the gradient of the normal, we can find dia punya equation. So you will get this. Okay, we'll get the equation of the normal. Right? What happened? Laser, not laser. I don't want laser pen. Okay, this one kan. So since P is a point on the normal line and passing through y-axis, so daripada sini, you know that C ini, this is C kan, y equals to mx plus c. C is your y-intercept. Okay, y-intercept. So from here, we can know directly coordinate of P. P is 0, -6. Ataupun you substitute your x value tadi, x equals to 0. Substitute into here. Since you know that P is 0, y. You want to find y kan? So from here you get y equals to -6. So you akan dapat P. Okay. So next, second order differentiation. Second order differentiation is very easy. As long as you can do, you can find, you can apply all the properties that you learned in the first part, then you can find second order differentiation. Second order differentiation is you differentiate it 2 times. Okay, so first differentiation is this. After you get the value here, you differentiate one more time, you akan dapat this one. How we get d square y over dx square? It comes from here kan? If you have function y equals to fx, okay? Differentiate y with respect to x is this. This is the meaning of differentiate your y with respect to x, but we write it as dy over dx. Okay? Ataupun fx ini is f prime x. So, how we get this? Because we differentiate ini another one more time with respect to x, so it is actually d dx dy over dx. Okay, can you see d and d square y? We treat them as a fraction. D square y, dx is dx squared. Okay, begitu sebenarnya ya. Okay, let's look at the example. Y equals to x cubed minus 6x squared plus 4x. No, ada motor lalu, sorry ya. Find d square y over dx square. Okay, differentiate one time and differentiate one more time. So it's easy. So you can find the punya d square y over dx square. Okay, example 9 sama juga. Sometimes we give you in the form of y. So differentiation there will be in terms of dy over dx and d square y over dx square. But if you are given in the form of fx, okay, the first differentiation will be f prime x. Okay, and then second differentiation f dot dot. Okay, if you differentiate one more time is f prime prime 3 times here. This one is we differentiate 3 times. Okay, tapi your level is up to second order differentiation only. Okay, so please take note that the second differentiation is not equal to dy over dx squared. I'll give you example. If I give you y equals to 4x square, so dy over dx is 8x. So d square y dx square is 8. Okay, but dy square is dy dx square is you square ini 8x square, so is 64x squared. So this is not equal, it's different. Okay, you square it. Okay, example number 10 sama juga ni. Okay, since you have two different polynomial here, 4x minus 2, x minus 3 equals to 3. Basically, you can expand this bracket power 3 first, ataupun you can use product rule. It's easier compared to you expand ini dulu, x minus 3 square x minus 3, and then you multiply with this and you get a polynomial, a very long polynomial. Okay, boleh, you can do that, but it will take time lah. Okay, but we can use product rule to shorten the time to solve the equation. Okay, so we will let u as 4x minus 2 and this is your v. Okay, using product rule, remain u fx equals to remain u differentiate v plus remain v differentiate u. Okay, senang sangat ingat ni. Okay, differentiate one more time, we factorize and then we factorize from the two terms, common term there, factor out there, and then you akan dapat another two term here, and then we use product rule again to find the second order differentiation, and you will end up with x minus 3, 36, x minus 40. Up until here boleh diterima, ataupun from here the one 36x minus 40 we can factor out 4 from inside kan, so we get this one, boleh, no problem. Okay, so next is concept of maximum and minimum value, right? So if you look at the figure, you have a graph where you can see that there is a point A, B and C there. So based on the graph shown, A and C are maximum point because dia punya bentuk is concave downwards kan. B and D are minimum point, coordinates x, y coordinate, because it is smiling. Your graph is smiling kan. So we can say that A, B, C and D are turning point. Okay, turning point. Ataupun nama lain diorang, kalau kamu baca dalam buku, it is a stationary point. Okay, stationary points. At the turning points ataupun at the stationary points, dy over dx equals to 0. You have to memorize this. This is very important. At turning point, dy over dx equals to 0. This is because the line of the tangent at the turning point is a horizontal line that is parallel to x-axis, which is the gradient is 0. Kan? The horizontal, so maksudnya gradient will be 0. So automatically we can say that dy over dx equals to 0. In other words, at the turning point ataupun stationary points, your dy over dx equals to 0. Okay, from this point we may identify whether your stationary points is a maximum or minimum point. Okay, later on we will look at from your stationary point, okay, the coordinate here can be a maximum point ataupun minimum point, or it can be an inflection point. Macam mana ejak dia tu? Inflection, xi, nantilah kita tengok, xion. Okay, so from the graph here kan, if you look at here, you will see that at the maximum point, the gradient dy over dx equals to 0. Okay, so dy over dx equals to 0, so we can see that the gradient is positive to the left. Ini. Here cuma ada satu coordinate ya. From the coordinate here to here, the gradient is positive. And then from here to here, the gradient is negative because it's going down, kan? It is a straight line. Alright? Okay, and then at the same way, for any minimum point, the gradient is 0 here. Kalau kamu kena ingat ni ya, for a maximum, dia mestilah positive, 0 and negative. Negative ah. Maksudnya dia naik, kosong, gradient kosong, and then this one gradient dia 0, negative. And then this one will be going down, maksudnya gradient dia negative, and then gradient kosong, and then positive, positive, negative, going down. Dia gini kan? Okay, so nanti akan apply in a few example. Okay, example number 11, find the stationary point. Alright? So, bila kamu jumpa stationary point, maksudnya you have to find dy over dx equals to 0. Stationary point happens when dy over dx equals to 0 and sketch the curve. When we want to sketch the curve, we have to know, we have to consider mungkin ada point yang intercept at x-axis. Bila dia intersect at x-axis, maksudnya x we don't know but we know our y is 0. Ataupun dia might intersect at y-axis, maksudnya you know that your x is 0 but your y you don't know. Okay, and then your curve, your graph will be having maximum atau minimum ataupun inflection point. The inflection point later on, I will explain more about it. Okay, so gradient at the stationary point is dy over dx equals to 0. So we differentiate ini. So 3x squared minus 3. So you end up with x equals to 1 and x equals to negative 1. Okay, so you check at x equals to 1 because they ask you to find dia punya points kan. Points tu maksudnya coordinate. So once you have dia punya x coordinate, then you have to find dia punya y. Okay, so when x equals to 1, y equals to negative 1. We substitute inside here. So the coordinate is 1, negative 1. And at x equals to negative 1, y equals to 3, the coordinate will be negative 1 and 3. So 1, negative 1, and 3 is your stationary point, but you don't know whether they are maximum or minimum value. So paling senang, we sketch dia punya, we draw a table. Okay, in other words, kan, this coordinate that you already find ni, yang x equals to 1 and x equals to negative 1 is your critical point. Okay, okay, so tadi kita punya critical point is at negative 1 and 1. Okay, maksudnya in your graph, at negative 1 sini, negative 1 and 1 di sini. Okay, so negative 1 tadi koordinatnya apa? Negative 1 and 1. So somewhere here 1 and 3 kah tadi? Negative 1 and 3. Sorry. Sini 3 and 1 negative 1. 1 negative 1. So somewhere di sini ya. So you don't know whether this is maximum or minimum. So you have to check dia punya right and left side. So you have to check this area, and this area. So that's why you have this interval. X equals less than negative 1. X equals to 1 is 0. And then between x equals to 1 and x greater than 1. Okay, you have to find dia punya dy over dx, dia punya gradient. Okay, so just now our y equals to our dy over dx tadi. Our dy over dx. And then at this point we already know this is equals to 0 kan. So you just masukkan nilai 0. And then for this one, x less than negative 1, you can try at x equals to negative 2. You substitute into your dy over dx equation. Then you found that you get a positive number. So if positive number, maksudnya your graph will be increasing. So that's why I put like this, increasing. Negative 1 and 1 in between, katalah I substitute x equals to 0. So I'll get negative value, so it's going down. And then this one, x equals to 1 is 0. X equals greater than 1, I've substituted x equals to 2. You can substitute 3, 4 because as long as it satisfies the interval. Okay, bila you substitute x equals to 2, maksudnya dia sudah, you get the positive value. So we know that negative 1, 3 is a maximum and 1, negative 1 is minimum. Okay, maksudnya from here, kamu boleh sketch ni. Ini will be like this, ini will be like this. Okay, so the graph will be macam begini. Okay, because you already know this is maximum and this is minimum. Okay, if you don't want to find x-axis, can, no problem, because ini adalah cubic. Cubic is macam mana? Graph dia mesti ada satu maximum and satu minimum. And then from here, we easily can find y-axis as well. Okay, when x equals to 0, we just substitute 0 here. Then you find that y equals to 1. So 0, 1. So that's why dia ada di sini satu. If you want to find this x-intercept, you have to let y equals to 0. When y equals to 0, then you will have x cubed minus 3x plus 1 equals to 0. Okay, this one very hard to solve, so you don't have to mind to find lah. You just put it cross that x-axis. Okay, because the question is just sketch. Sketch tu maksudnya asal nampak maximum value and minimum value, then should be okay. And label your graph. Okay, next, increasing and decreasing function. When the gradient is positive, the function is described as increasing function. If your dy over dx is positive, the function is increasing function. When your dy over dx is negative, it is considered as decreasing function. Macam tadi kan yang graph tu, if you get dy over dx is positive, maksudnya your graph akan increase, naik lah maksudnya. Kalau gradient dia less than, maksudnya your graph will be decrease gitu. Okay, itu sangat clear. Example, alright, y equals to x cubed plus x is an increasing function. Dy over dx, we solve, find dia punya dy over dx, 3x squared plus 1. Since x square is always greater than 0, okay, for all real values of x. For any value of x, it is always positive. Ini, we have to show that ini increasing function kan, so we have to show that dia punya dy over dx is always greater than 0, which is positive. Okay, so in this case, when you find dia punya dy over dx, you get this. So from here, this is a square kan? Square is always positive. Regarding positive or negative value that you substitute as x, you can dapat positive. So positive number you multiply with 3, okay, is always positive. Plus 1 still positive. Okay, so since x squared is always greater than 0, so we can say that dy over dx is always greater than 1. Okay, so therefore we can say that, which is ini we consider as always positive lah. Okay, so therefore we can say that x cubed plus 1 is an increasing function. Okay, so this is point of inflection. It is possible for the value dy over dx to be 0 at a point on the curve without being a maximum or minimum. Okay, maksudnya tadi kalau dy over dx equals to 0, it can be maximum, minimum, or inflection point. Okay, kalau dia tidak menjadi maximum or minimum, it is an inflection point. Okay, for example, this one. dy over dx is this. When x equals to 0, then dy over dy equals to 0. Okay, because we solve ini kan, because we solve dy over dx equals to 0. Right, so inflection point dia punya beza tadi. Okay, for maximum dia kena macam gini kan, positive, 0, negative. Kalau minimum dia kena negative, 0, positive, negative, 0, positive. Tapi kalau inflection, dia mestilah sign yang sama for left hand side. Okay, di sini kan 0 tadi, dia punya dy over dx equals to 0. So, plus dia naik. And then, after your stationary point dia still naik, positive, positive and positive. Maksudnya this coordinate will be called as inflection point. Ataupun kalau dia going down, tak boleh gini, going down gini. Okay, so negative and negative at the same point dy over dx equals to 0. So since sign dia sama, kalau sign dia sama maksudnya dia adalah inflection point. Okay, macam begini kan. Alright, point of inflection. So here is dia punya stationary point. They're going down and going down again. Ini pun sama, stationary point going down and going down. Maksudnya negative, 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 negative. Ataupun stationary point di sini, this is positive, this is still positive. Ataupun at this point, dia positive and positive. Notice that the gradient of the curve on either side has the same sign. Okay, the same sign. Okay, so how we apply second derivative to identify the nature of stationary point instead of looking at the sign of dy over dx. Maksudnya, in order to check whether it is a maximum or minimum, tadi previously we draw a table kan. Okay, if you don't want to use this table, interval tadi. If you don't want to use this table, you can use second derivative, your d square y over dx square equals to 0. You can check this one. Okay, sama ada dia equals to 0, greater than 0 ataupun less than 0. Okay, so we can say that, okay, if you look at the first figure here, positive, 0 and negative maksudnya it is a maximum point. Maximum point when your second derivative is less than 0. If your second derivative is greater than 0, then maksudnya it is a minimum value. Okay, kena hafal ni ya. Maximum if d square y dx square less than 0. Less than 0 kan maksudnya paling senang ingat yang ini ni kamu pusingkan dia mengikut arah lawan jam ni, kamu naikkan dia gini, maksudnya dia akan jadi gini. Maksudnya you akan dapat maximum. If this one pusingkan dia ikut arah jam, dia akan jadi gini lah, so minimum. Okay, itu cara hafal yang senang. Okay, example, given that y equals to 2x cubed plus 3x square minus 12x. Okay, find dy over dx and find the values of x for which dy over dx equals to 0. And then find the value of d square y. Find the y values of each of the stationary points and sketch the curve of y equals to x cubed plus 3x square minus 12x. Okay, ini besok kita bincangkan in our class. Okay. So, tadi kita kata apa? If you don't want to draw the table to see the nature of your graph, your stationary point, you can use your d square y over dx square kan. So if d square y over dx square greater than 0, maksudnya you akan dapat minimum point. If d square y dx square less than 0, you akan dapat maximum point. Okay, if d square y dx square, some of the question will give you 0, exactly 0. So this one is for inflection point. Okay, inflection point macam begini. Y equals to x cubed. So differentiate dx, dy over dx. At the origin, you akan dapat ini equals to 0. And then we differentiate one more time, you akan dapat d square y dx square equals to 0. So positive and positive. So at this point is an inflection point. But take a look, sometimes even if your d square y dx square is 0, it doesn't give you an inflection point. It still give you a minimum point. Okay, so maksudnya you have to back to your table. Kita buat table juga. So my suggestion is paling senang guna table. You have to check using the table. Okay, so I'll give you more example later in the class. So application of differentiation will be covered next week. third part. Okay, I think that's all for this video. Okay, thank you very much. So it's about 45 minutes. Okay, I'll see you in the class. Thank you. Bye bye.